The Parabat Express has arrived. The children have to get on board very quickly to look for leftover items before anyone else does, and to avoid the train guards. People are buying tickets for the Parabat Express and showing them to the ticket collector before the train goes back to Dhaka. At the railway station, three-wheeled auto rickshaws called baby taxis wait for passengers from the Parabat Express. Once the passengers arrive, there's usually a traffic jam outside the station. Silet's narrow streets are often choked with traffic. We're going to take a baby taxi to Gangkul. The journey east will take about 3 hours to get there. We turn off the main road at Roltali Bazaar, which is part of Gangkul. There are many stalls and small shops in Roltali Bazaar. The bazaar can sound noisy because it's usually very busy, and there's always the sound of traffic from the main road. This man works in the tea shop. He's making shingara. They'll be filled with potato or meat and are very tasty. This man is buying some leaves called pun. He doesn't have a wallet or trousers pocket. Can you see where he keeps his money? The bananas in Bangladesh are smaller and sweeter than those found in most British shops. This stall has 2 types of betel nut on sale at the front. This is the blacksmith's workshop. The sawmill at Gangkul provides this furniture-making shop with 3 types of wood cut from local trees. It takes a day for 2 men to make 1 chair. The furniture goes on display in the showroom. In this workshop, they're making scent. In the past, most people in Gangkul had their clothes specially made in this sewing shop. Nowadays, though, most people prefer to shop for clothes in the market. On the main road next to the rickshaw stand, there's a workshop to repair and repaint auto rickshaws. The village is less than half a kilometre from here. Some houses in Gangkul have tin roofs. This is Nazmul and Jasmine's family.
আমার নাম ফয়জউদ্দিন, আমি ফারুকের ছোট ভাই।
আমার নাম নাজমুল হোসেন, আমার বয়স 10 বছর। আমার নাম জাসিন, আমার বয়স 9 বছর। আমার নাম রুমি বেগম, বয়স 12 বছর।
আমার নাম মমতা, আমি তার দাদি।
আমার নাম হেনা বেগম, আমি ফারুকের ভাই।
আমার নাম রেনা বেগম, আমি ফয়জউদ্দিনের বোন। বুবু ফকাত
In the morning, Henna washes the dishes at the small pond near her house. She uses ash to clean the pots because it's rough and abrasive and scours away the leftover food. There's always plenty of ash available and it costs nothing to use. By the end of December, a lot of the water in the small pond will have evaporated. There'll be very little rain from now until April, so it's a good time to remove some of the mud from the bottom of the pond before it gets baked hard by the sun. Emdad's grandfather, Moshur, is usually given the job of clearing the excess mud which has built up during the year. By April, the pond will begin to fill with water again. During the dry season, though, it's the water in the well that's used to clean the pots. A new tube well is being dug for the village to provide clean drinking water. Until the tube well is ready, Henna must walk to a neighbour's house to collect drinking water from their tube well. How much water do you think there is in the pot Henna carries back from the tube well? In the kitchen, rice and dal are cooked over an open wood fire. Dal is often eaten with curry. It's made out of lentils. The smoke goes out of a hole in the roof. In the dry season, from November to April, cooking can be done outside. In the open air, people can also use dry leaves, which would give off too much smoke indoors. Nazmul and Jasmine's mother Henna is cooking rice and a potato and fish curry. The rice needs water to boil in. It takes about half an hour to cook. Special grippers are used to move hot pots. Momota, Rena, Rumi and Nazmul help Henna as well as looking after the younger children. The younger children are often crying, but the whole family helps while the mothers are busy. When the rice is ready, the water is drained off. Finally, a fish called tungra is prepared. This fish is available from Roltali Bazaar. Momota and Rena are making a food called fita. First, the rice is pounded. The rice powder is emptied out. A sieve is used to separate larger grains from the flour. Water is added to the final mixture. The mixture is now made into shape before cooking. This is the first stage in preparing betel nut to eat. Many adults in Bangladesh chew betel nut, known as gua in Sylhet. Betel nut first needs cutting into smaller pieces. Because it's a hard nut, special sharp cutters are used. Betel nut is eaten with a certain type of leaf known as pun and a white lime mixture known as sun. Finally, after the lime mixture has been added, Momota sprinkles some special spices called pun porag to give a good taste. This is one of the oldest mosques in the village. Riyadh explains that before going to the mosque, people wash their hands, face and feet. There's a pond outside the mosque where people can wash. The call to prayer is heard 5 times a day. In the village, men attend the mosque and women pray at home. The call to prayer has given enough time for people to reach the mosque before the prayer begins. Henna and Emdad's mother take their babies to a mobile clinic, which has been set up in a nearby building. The doctor and nurse travel from village to village giving vaccinations. Nazmul's 6-month-old brother, Ruman, is to have his polio vaccination. Khaled has an injection card, which is certified by the nurse. Details are kept on all the children who come to the clinic. Here is Jasmine playing Sorry with Tunni and her other friends. Jasmine needs to be at school by 12:15 p.m. when her class begins. She eats lunch before she leaves. There are 403 children in Gungkul Primary School. It's time for the morning classes to go home. Now the afternoon children file into class. In older classes, the teacher calls the children by number and not by their name. The youngest children are in Class 1, the oldest in Class 5. This is Class 1. The children are aged 6 years and over. There are 44 children in this class. In the morning, the Year 1 class runs from 9:30 to 12. Then a different class of 36 Year 1 children attend the afternoon session in the same room. This is because there's only one room for Year 1 and there's not enough space for everyone to attend at once. The class is learning Bengali. As there are 75 children and only one room for Class 3, 35 children attend the morning session and 40 different children attend Jasmine's afternoon session. Jasmine's class is learning maths. Jasmine has to study hard because there'll be exams in all the subjects in December. If she fails any subject, she'll have to stay in the same class for one more year and try the same exam again the following December. If she fails again, she'll have to stay in the same class for yet another year. It goes on like this till Jasmine finally passes. There's usually a short break between lessons. Cricket is a popular game with the children. After break, there's another Bengali lesson. The children need to copy the writing from the book. Every day, the children do the same exercises. This is the only PE they'll do in school. Nazmul gets up at 6 a.m. He sleeps under a mosquito net to keep the mosquitoes away at night. At 7 a.m, the children of Gangkul go to the mosque. Shoes are left outside. The boys and girls are separated in the mosque. So that they can take part in prayer, the boys are learning by heart some surahs, chapters from the Holy Quran. The Arabic teacher is checking the other students and also listening to the girls reading round the circle. After learning some surahs by heart, the first book the children read is called the Qaida, where they learn the Arabic alphabet and blends. After the Qaida, this is the second book called the Sifara, which contains small surahs which are part of the Holy Quran. After the Sifara, it's time to move on to reading the Holy Quran. Like the Sifara, the Holy Quran is in Arabic. At 8:30 a.m, after 1.5 hours in the mosque, the children go home. Nazmul, Atika and his other friends play Latom before school starts. Latom is a very popular game because it can be played by just 2 children, or any size of group up to about 10. All you need is a wooden Latom bought from Roltuli Bazaar and a piece of string. This is another game Nazmul and his friends love to play. It's called Danduni Bai. Children also build their own toys to play with. Kamrul and Nazmul only own toys they've built themselves. Nazmul walks to the madrasa, which starts at 10:30 a.m. and finishes at 3 p.m. Although the madrasa is a religious school, it teaches all the same subjects as in the primary school. The madrasa takes children from Year 1 to Year 12. Years 6 to 10 need to pay, but since Nazmul is in Class 4, his family won't be paying. His father thinks he'll get a better education at the madrasa than at the primary school. The class is reading from an English textbook, and the teacher is asking pupils questions like, "Who are you?" He interprets their answers in Bengali. Meanwhile, towards the end of the day, some children are relaxing. The older boys play football. Nazmul and his friend Emdad often swim in the small pond. They've taught themselves how to swim using whatever stroke is easiest for them. There are no swimming lessons provided by the school or anyone else in Gangkul. Finally, it's time to do some homework before going to bed. Nazmul practices reading English while Jasmine is learning Bengali. Nazmul goes to sleep under his mosquito net at about 10 o'clock in the evening. Gangkul is just a few kilometres from the border with India. The flat land with rice paddies starts to become hilly as you approach the area near the border. In September, the fields are ploughed ready for replanting the rice crop. Rice is the staple crop in Bangladesh, eaten daily by virtually everyone. The rice in this field was planted 3 months ago and is now ready to be pulled out and transferred for planting in a new field. Rice growing in a field is called dhan. The rice crop which was pulled out is carried to the new field. The rice crop is now replanted in the new wet field in straight rows. It needs a new field so that it can be spread out with room to grow. Flooding of the field has provided nutrients for the rice crop. After a further 3 months of growth, the replanted rice crop is ready for harvesting. It's cut and put into piles. This process of growing and replanting produces one rice crop in half a year. The family who are going to remove the rice grains have to hire a cart so that they can transport the rice from the paddy fields to the grain removal area. The rice is spread out, ready for the removal of individual grains of rice from the plant. The weight of the buffaloes walking over the rice will dislodge and separate the rice grains from the plants. The family who owns the animals helps to control and guide them. Their children often won't go to school every day during this period because they need to help their parents. Depending on the amount of rice, it can take an hour for buffaloes to dislodge all the rice grains from a pile of hay. After a hard day's work, the animals have a chance to eat the rice plants. Any remaining rice plants will be collected to use as animal feed. Some plants are used for fuel. The hay is tied using rope made out of the rice plant. The dry hay will be kept under shelter to be used as animal feed in the dry season or when fresh grass is scarce. The rice grains are now laid out on mats to dry. When they're dry, the wind will separate the rice grains from the chaff. Heavier rice grains fall straight down onto the mat, while the lighter chaff is blown away. The rice is now collected in a basket. It'll be dried further before the brown rice is processed to make white rice. Rice which is ready to eat is called bhat. This is the place in Roltali Bazaar where the brown rice is processed into white rice. It's a noisy and dusty place. The husking machine removes the outer brown rice husk to reveal the white seed underneath. This is now referred to as white rice. Most people in Sylhet division prefer to eat white rice, though more brown rice is eaten in other divisions. In the afternoon, when Shohid takes a break from driving the rickshaw, he adds to his income by fishing. Jubed helps him. The banks of the river show that the water level has been much higher during the heavy rainfall in the monsoon season. With luck, larger fish can sometimes be caught in ponds. This time, Shohid has been lucky, and the family can have fish curry tonight. Though fishing takes place all year round, there's one particular way of catching fish that depends on the season. After the monsoonal rains, when the water drains away from the land, villagers go fishing in the fields. Today, many children in the area won't be going to school because it's their big chance to collect fish to take home. Look at the different containers the children hold to put the fish in. What's their technique to try and locate the fish? Dams are built, and then the water's removed by shoveling it into a net to capture any small fish. Larger fish go straight into a pot. Many smaller ones will be collected together when the net is drained. Has this boy been successful using his own net to catch any fish? To drain the fields, a group of 5 men have shared the cost of hiring a pump. When the water levels go down, the children must wait until the men who hired the pump have caught as many of the larger fish that they can find. Shohid is busy removing the last of the water the pump didn't get to. Now everyone can join in the hunt. The new Somanbag tea estate is situated in the hilly area a few kilometres from Gungkul. The tea bush needs sloping ground to drain water and some taller trees to act as shade. The bushes would grow up to 10 metres high and would require some very tall people to pick the leaves if they weren't regularly pruned to about 1 metre in height. See how fast the women pick the leaves. Only certain leaves are selected. Families live on the tea estate. Rather than train local people, many of the workers were originally experienced tea labourers brought in from eastern and central India by the British. The morning shift brings the tea leaves in bags. The bags are weighed as the women have to collect a minimum weight, and they're paid depending on how much they pick. The tea will be taken to the tea factory on the estate, where it will be dried, crushed, fired and sorted. Some women buy food to eat during their lunch break. Soon these women will be back picking leaves for the afternoon session. How do you know when Ramadan starts?
जो आइज चांद देखले खाली रोजा आज रात चांद से खाली रोजा रमजान मास 29টা ने 30টা রোজা হয় বড় মানুষের সারা রোজা রাখে না আমি 3টা রাখি আমি 4টা রাখি আমার নাম জিবু দাস আমি হিন্দু আমি রোজা মাসে রোজা রাখি না খাই
Only Muslims fast during Ramadan. Adults fast from sunrise to sunset. Nazmul and his father are selling dates, which are one of the high-energy foods eaten to end the fasting. The marketplace sells many different types of food, which people buy as the time to break the fast approaches. These sweet desserts are popular during Ramadan. Sunset is at 5:20 today, time to end the day's fasting. Nazmul's family are having the first food taken when the fast is broken. It's called iftar. In the market, the call from the mosque has told Farouk and Foyez that it's time for iftar. They eat iftar in their shop. Many people eat in the tea shop. All activity in the market has stopped while everyone breaks the fast. Before going to sleep that night, rice and curry are eaten. There's no fixed time for this, but Nazmul and Jasmine's family are eating at 9 p.m. Farouk and Foyez aren't there because they stay in their shop until 11 p.m.
আমরা সাড়ে 3টার সময় উঠে পড়তে হয় আমরা রাত 3:30টার সময় উঠে পড়তে হয়
Before dawn, Nazmul and Jasmine's family also eat a meal with rice, known as fota. The mealtime varies depending on the time that Ramadan starts, and that will affect what time dawn is. After finishing the food, everyone will go back to sleep a little longer. Nazmul explains that after 1 month of fasting, when they see the new moon, the next day is Eid Day. Eid al-Fitr will depend on the sighting of the Hilal. This isn't really the new moon, but the first hairline crescent of the moon. This is the Hilal. A few days before Eid is expected, the houses are cleaned. Emdad's mother is making a new surface in each room of their house. This involves spreading a mixture of wet mud, which will then dry to make the new floor. The outside of the houses also gets attention. Two days before Eid is expected, Jasmine and her friends go to collect the henna leaf from a bush in a nearby garden. Henna is called mendi in Bengali. The henna leaves are washed before being ground to a thick paste. Finally, after being thoroughly ground to a paste, the henna is ready. In the evening, the children are excited because they've been waiting to have the henna applied to their hands. The henna will need to stay on the hands for a few hours. The longer it stays, the longer the effect lasts. Emdad's family think that it'll be Eid tomorrow, so the women are busily preparing a snack called fita to be eaten on Eid Day. Food preparations for Eid Day can take up much of the night. The rice flour for the fita has to be ground first before sieving to make a fine powder. The fitas being prepared by Emdad's family must now wait at least another day. A big group of children gather in a nearby field. Everyone's excited because this evening the Hilal has just been spotted, the first hairline crescent of the moon. Jasmine's family are now busily preparing food for Eid tomorrow. Their grandmother, Momota, is frying a sweet snack called hundesh. There will be many visitors throughout the next few days, so they'll need a large supply of tasty snacks to offer them. On Eid day morning, Emdad's sister Saima is quick to get up and clean the area outside their house. Nazmul and Emdad have woken up just before dawn. Just as the sun is rising, they have a wash. As the nights in Bangladesh from November to March can be quite chilly, their parents have heated some water for them to use. Nazmul has soap to wash with, but Emdad uses his hands to scrub his body. After washing, Emdad and Nazmul put on their clothes for Eid day. Meanwhile, Jasmine has also been busy preparing herself. She likes to put on her finest jewellery for Eid day. Today is a special morning for Emdad as he can have hundesh with his cup of tea. Farooq, Nazmul, Foyez and Forad have finished breakfast. They now go to the mosque for a special Eid day prayer. On the way, they pass other families dressed in their Eid day clothes. As so many people attended the special morning prayer, it was held in a special congregational area nearby. Men and boys attended the outdoor prayer, while the women stayed at home. Emdad has managed to avoid going to the mosque because he wants to be early at the special Eid fair set up for people to enjoy during the morning. Nazmul has found the ice cream seller. There's a holiday spirit now that the month of fasting has ended, and a relief that Eid day has finally arrived. There are lots of interesting toys for sale. Emdad looks longingly at them all. He has very little money to spend, so he must think carefully about what to buy. Some of the toys look very attractive, especially when they're being made in front of him. Emdad's found Nazmul, and they've both decided what they'd like to buy. Jasmine and Tahmina have also found some toys that they want. After all the excitement, the children sit down for a delicious outdoor snack of spicy chickpeas and potato.